Are you sitting comfortably? Then we'll begin.
10 minutes left. Yeah, but there's still some time. It's not the final score. We need more than the numbers we're given. Show us you live and breathe the game. You're more than a name. That's what we came for. We can bring you more than the score. Every story. Let's take this thing off of the field into the real world, away from the numbers,
Hey, everybody in the Whitecaps world, soccer world, AFTN world, the AFTN Soccer Show. My name is Steve Pander.
I'm Zachary Adam Eisenheimer.
And I'm Michael. Oh, sorry. I'm Joe DC.
Yeah, no Michael McCall, because I'm introducing the show, and it's a horrible introduction. No Michael McCall. Another week without Michael, who has self-quarantined himself for like I think 14 days now.
Yeah,
No coronavirus.
He claims
he's just quarantined.
He claims it's not coronavirus.
Yeah.
You know, you don't associate self-awareness with Michael, but that's
No,
good
yeah.
self-awareness.
I did. Caitlin told me he is sucking on a lot of lemons, though, so I'm a little worried.
There you go.
Or sorry, a lot of limes.
Like I said before, you're listening to the There's Still Time, the AFTN Soccer Show, broadcasting live from the CITR FM studios at the University of British Columbia on the unceded Musqueam territory. And something to talk about, something visual we can talk about. We're not being filmed this week, but something visual we can talk about the Whitecaps. They actually played a game today.
Yeah, it's the first time in 4 months we've been able to watch them play. Is that someone said that date on Twitter today?
Mark DeSantos knows how long it's been.
Yeah, is it crazy how long the gap between the preseasons?
It was. It's bigger even for the people that won a title.
Yeah,
the people played it.
yeah,
there's two things. One is the whole league pushed their schedule back a month,
which I'm a fan of. Like, the playoffs seemed a bit more natural this year.
And then Vancouver was not involved in those playoffs,
No.
so they were out another month before that.
You're
so.
saying averaging a point a game means they couldn't play in the postseason, even though more than half the teams in a conference can qualify for the playoffs?
Yeah, I'm saying a point a game is not good enough.
Yeah, I think we can agree on that.
Yeah.
Second bottom was at the
No, they were bottom of the West.
Bottom of the conference, second bottom in the league table.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think it's Cincinnati. Who
Yeah.
were
Oh, yeah.
Cincinnati had a criminal year, but we'll get to more about Cincinnati later in the show.
Boston knows how to pick them.
Okay, first off, thoughts on it only being available in parts of BC and in the Timber broadcast territory.
It was cryptic, like parts of BC. Like,
yeah, I know, like which parts.
I had to tweet at the account to ask, like, I live in Richmond. Can I watch the game? And they were like, yeah. And then I think someone else tweeted, I think it was Caleb Wilkins, that he was like, can we watch it in Victoria? And they also they sent back a thumbs up.
Yeah.
So like,
I got it. In
I'm
Abbotsford.
assuming it's maybe northern BC or something like that.
Yeah.
Do we know
the signal
why?
wasn't strong enough?
So there was Farhan tweeted something out that like they were. It was a MLS directive or something, and something to do with the rights. But it's a preseason game. Like,
I know.
It was.
I don't
it was
think
a
TSN
YouTube
was
stream.
planning on showing it at all.
It was a YouTube stream before, right? Like maybe it's like a practice thing for when the actual games come around.
It could be like before. I know they had commentary. Like Peter Schad went down last time, I think, or the first time. It was
or
in
did
Portland.
he though? Or was he?
No, he was
sitting-
definitely
he
there.
was actually there.
I saw him there. Him and David Norman, they were down there for the whole week. In fact, but now. But I think maybe that's the reason why.
The commentary was enjoyable for the reason that those two commentators were just so pro Portland. It was. I don't know if anyone else has listened to the commentary.
I had no commentary. No, I shut that off.
No, it's obvious. They do that all the time. If you listen to their highlights in previous years too.
I tuned into like the pregame thing because I was so desperate for any amount of soccer. I don't think the name Vancouver Whitecaps came up once in the 15-minute pregame. And the
Well, it was-
25-minute long anthems that were sung. Like,
It was a Portland broadcast, though. You got to expect that. I don't know how much the Vancouver
Yeah.
media talks about other teams. Or they probably do too much, actually.
well, if you listen to the AFTN preview show,
Yeah.
we talk plenty about other teams. But
Okay, so first game of the tournament, it's now in the books. It's a narrow 2-1 loss for the Caps. I thought they were pretty competitive. I think they were way better than last year, where they didn't even look like they belonged on the pitch in a lot of games. This one, they did look like they belonged at least. There was a little bit leg in the attack. Sure, the stuff in the midfield wasn't that great. Defending wasn't kind of, like I think you said pre-game, pre-show right now, it was the scrambly part of the defense.
Last year, a big problem that the team had is when they were pinned in the box with 10 players, and they had to work with each other to make sure that the spaces were covered and they didn't allow gaps or shots and things like that. That kind of scrambly type of defense. Again, it didn't look great, but we have to throw in the caveat that not all the potential starters were playing too. It looked close to a finished team. I think the 2 center back positions need to come under quite a bit of scrutiny, because I don't think Cornelius and Kamiri will be the starting pair. Maybe Cornelius. Personally, I thought Kamiri was the worst Whitecap on the field.
Yeah.
Could have gotten sent
Neither of
off.
them covered themselves in glory today.
But his hairstyle was a little bit better, wasn't it?
So if it was last season,
little bit better?
If it was last season's
It wasn't silver.
Hawaii preseason, then it would have been right on point.
Yeah.
But it I don't think it fits the Portland vibe very well.
Or maybe it fits San Diego. That's why he did it. But I agree with you there. I thought Kamiri was like, I even on the first goal, the Cornelius goal, Kamiri was the one I felt, and I didn't get to see enough highlights, but it felt like Kamiri was the one that was kind of not together with the back line, and Cornelius had to go way outside his comfort zone to get into that spot.
Yeah, Cornelius had to make a desperation play.
I still don't think it was that much of a foul.
It was a good ball.
I think he went down way too easy.
I think it was a foul, personally.
For the penalty?
Yeah, shoulder in the back.
I think he went down too easy, though. He went down easy.
He was off balance.
Wait,
If it was Reina,
who went down again?
Reina wouldn't have got that
Blanco,
call.
I think. No, it was.
Was it
the
Valeri?
striker? No, it wasn't Valeri. Blanco sent
Oh,
the ball
so that
in.
their new striker, the one
Yeah.
that's on loan from Mexico. The
Oh,
Pumas, I can't
right.
remember. But I feel like if it Reina wouldn't have got that call.
Yeah, but that's because
the referees know about Reina.
because they know him, yeah.
exactly.
So then Valeri scored the penalty. Well,
Yeah.
what's this is not really football. What's up with Valeri's hair? Is he
Oh,
doing the
yeah,
man
I
bun?
paid
man
attention.
bun.
I didn't-
Because
Yeah.
before he's like using the man bun to hide his baldness.
In the new CBA, actually, every team has to have one
player.
Yeah.
Oh, the man bun
Yeah,
rule.
yeah, and it can't be the
It's for
union reps.
diversity.
It's like a weird prank that the
Is
union
that-
reps played on the players who weren't in the union negotiations.
Is that because like David Beckham has a team in the league now? Is that like a throwback?
Yeah, but we can't talk about that because there's a lawsuit going on.
We'll talk about that later too.
No, but seriously, he had a man bun, right?
He did.
But before you've seen him, he looks bald in the middle, like a little.
Yeah, maybe he got.
He's
plugs
covering
in.
it up. He's
Maybe he
like
got plugs
throwing it
in.
out, covering up.
Maybe he got plugs or something.
Maybe.
What is he, Wayne Rooney?
Impossible.
I will not tolerate Wayne Rooney talk like that.
Okay,
What? He got plugs.
He did.
He got probably the most expensive plugs in the entire world.
Probably because there was a lot of area to fill.
He got Wayne Rooney's head. I think it was like, you know how they have the pitches now where it's part synthetic, part grass.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like Wayne Rooney
New
had.
German technology.
Yeah. Ausgezeichnet.
So
Sorry.
do you feel like the starting 11 was a solid choice beyond Godoy being in for or Kamiri being in for Godoy? Do you think that was what you're looking at starting 11 wise, or do you think there's some other adjustment? I think there was. a midfield Owusu. I think he will start
Instead of Tybert, I think.
and I think. I'm not sure about Milinkovic being the starter. That I'm not sure about too. But I don't see any other. Really,
But he
that
played
many
better
options.
than. I know he's not as
But I thought because
on a big ticket, but he played better than the
Dahomey?
Yeah,
I thought Dahomey brought a bit of defensive cover.
yeah,
some
but
solid defensive
I don't
cover.
think they were going down the left side a lot more than the right side.
So
it felt like.
Nerwinski looked fantastic, which is I did like a quick racing while it was still fresh in my head of which player looked the best. I thought Nerwinski was the Whitecaps man of the match.
Really,
Like,
he played all the game in 90 minutes.
Well, and towards the end, they
yeah.
were sending these through balls to him that he just had no energy
Yeah.
to catch. It was pretty funny to watch.
Yeah,
But
you were tweeting about that, right?
yeah, it was hilarious. Like
pranking him or something.
pretty
you said?
much. Yeah, it looked like he was the he pulled the short straw or something. But he looks really good. So I think That's why Dahomey probably didn't have as much to do because Nerwinski was making these great overlapping runs.
Yeah.
There was a problem when they would lose the ball that Nerwinski was way out of space, and then they had a straight shot at Kamiri, which wasn't great. But
No.
that's not the finished article.
Domi, they had one really good cross into the box. I don't remember. I think it was early in the game, but it was a solid, very nice.
Is that the Cavallini chance?
No,
that he
no,
missed?
no. That was from
No.
that was
That
from
was
Adnan
Adnan,
too.
yeah.
The early one he missed, but there was one there. He didn't get close to anybody. I think maybe Tybert was the one that headed it. It was heading for Cavallini, but Tybert headed it. I can't remember.
I was
now.
reading some people's comments of the game. They felt like the right side
Yeah.
were not good at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought Nerwinski defensively looked very strong. He looks in very good.
I think they were
physical
referring to
condition.
going forward.
I think there's more chances on the left side. That's where people always look at. Oh, this
Maybe-
is so much better.
Maybe my bar is low for a player that we've drafted and have had to develop ourselves, but for what he's hitting the cap for and all that kind of a thing.
So in terms of Godoy replacing Kamiri in the back line, do you think is Kamiri just not match fit enough?
I
yet?
don't think
Or-
he's got good chemistry right now with Cornelius. I don't think those two are two similar players. They might not ever have good together. There might be that Kamiri might be better with Godoy, and so is Cornelius better with Godoy.
He hasn't played in a long time, but he was poor on the ball, poor off the ball.
Yeah.
And also, if it was a regular season game, would have got sent off for
Oh,
a tackle
yeah,
that he got
yeah.
a yellow card on. You could see the referee was like,
Yeah, because there was no
Running.
VAR in this game, right?
No, there
I
was.
think there was.
Apparently
There
there
was?
was. They said there was VAR available.
See, I had the volume. Okay, I
yeah,
didn't.
They're in preseason.
I think there was,
too.
but
Because I was going to say, if there's anyone who needs a preseason,
It's VAR.
it's VAR.
I thought you were going to say Kamiri. I would have agreed with that too.
So other positives, Huang, I think he looked decent in the midfield,
Really
especially
good,
considering
yeah.
he didn't have very much support.
So I
thought.
saw some people on Twitter say that he is kind of wasted in the number 6 role. I think it was Russell Beresford who said
Yeah.
that. I kind of disagree personally. He's neat and tidy. He's not soft on the ball. He's not the ideal number 6 in the league, but he has such good vision, and the amount of times that he was able to play in either of the fullbacks because he can see more of the pitch was great. And the Whitecaps have a good 10 or an 8 or whatever you want to call it already in Reina. And then you just need the person beside Ingbaum to do the running.
Connections. Better
Please never
connection.
refer to Rain again as an 8.
Yeah, he's a 10. He should be 9 or 10.
But I personally think
I don't like the number system, but that's a separate
Yeah.
rant I'll go on. But
Yeah,
anyway.
he has 10 tendencies, but
But he looks so good with those driving runs. Remember that goal he scored last season where he ran through
Yeah.
the entire team and
Yeah.
got the penalty?
Yeah.
He was doing a lot more.
is this
of
at
that.
the stadium or in FIFA for you?
In the
Oh,
actual
okay.
stadium.
Right.
It wasn't Football Manager. No.
there was one,
he
there was
had
one
some-
play where he actually dove really well. It was actually a sideways dive where he just stopped and dove with, flat on his back.
Yeah, we
or
expect
side.
that from.
So also let's talk about the goal. That was
Beautiful.
nice
Yeah.
setup and working everything up and down the pitch, and then Adnan got it in.
Yeah.
Cavallini sold out basically and got his head to the ball.
So Milinkovic wouldn't seem like he didn't want to take anybody on one for whatever reason. And the one time he did, when he poked the ball through and got the nutmeg, he was able to kind of directly contribute to the goal. Great finish, but I think what's more important was how bad the miss was that Cavallini had. I think it was 10 minutes before that. Really should have been a tap-in. It's preseason. We're not going to turn the screw, so to speak, but it was a great finish. Diving header. He looked a little bit surprised that it went in himself, actually, because he turned around when he was back on the floor and was like, oh, that went in. That's great.
Yeah. No, it was I think the best play in the whole match. The best for both teams, it felt like the best build up and
Yeah, both Timbers goals were shoddy. Well,
Yeah.
a penalty.
And also the second one, was it a cross or was it like a YP Lee special or was it a goal?
that was a free kick, so a little different.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, a little bit.
I'm firmly in the camp that it was a shot or a cross.
Yeah, a cross,
That,
yeah.
A cross come shot.
Yeah, that's screwed badly over Crepo.
Max,
Sorry,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you felt bad for him on that.
And it was 16 seconds into the half or something.
Yes.
So I don't know. Rusty, still not Russell Tybert, but rusty.
Yeah, I felt a little bit fortunate, but he celebrated like he meant it.
Oh yeah, of course you would. I would, wouldn't you?
Okay,
Of course,
I have.
Yeah,
Actually.
exactly.
What do you guys want to see from the next two games? Do you want to see a settled in lineup, or you still want to see experiment? I think Wednesday you're going to see a lot of that second group of players that came on during the match. I think Nowitzki deserves a rest. Probably get Cornelius on the bench and maybe have Rose and Kamiri start.
So I know it's preseason. Maybe this is not a fair perspective, but I know they didn't roll over and die, But if did you guys feel at any I didn't feel at any point like they're going to equalize in this and not that they didn't have any possession in Portland's half or the final third, but I think part of what I think this Whitecaps team misses is this incredible will to win no matter what has happened to us we're going to overcome. And I know again it's preseason so maybe this is unfair, but after the goal went in, I was just okay, this is going to end 2-1 or 3-1 or 4-1. This is not going to be 2-2 or 3-2 Vancouver.
I felt like when the first group, so to speak, were still on the field, before the 75th.
Yeah.
If anything was going to happen, that's when it was going to happen.
Yeah.
I thought the players looked dangerous.
But even that 20 minutes, I didn't feel like...
You mean the last 20 minutes?
No, the 20 minutes from the goal to that point. 19 minutes, whatever.
I thought the Whitecaps looked more dangerous than the Timbers did.
They did for spells, yeah. I'll give you that.
And once the second group came on, it was just flat. It was dead. I thought Theobert didn't look great in the wide role. He didn't seem to know where to cover properly. Montero had,
he was there?
He was, believe it or not. Yeah, he was there.
He does not look like a number 10 at all.
He's just because he's not.
Unfortunately, it's the only place he fits in now.
Not even a facsimile of a number 10. Not even even close to.
But
anything
you need
a
you need a change of pace, right? You need a little bit of a burst of speed. He has, I think he has the technical attributes, he's a forward who likes to play with his back to goal. You can use those skills in the number 10 role. It's just the other stuff, right? The quick running to get into open spaces that are only there for a split second.
Yeah.
I don't think that's quite his thing to do, right? But if
quite
he finds the ball,
it's not his cup of coffee right now.
No, it's not his cup of Colombian coffee. Is it? Yeah.
So obviously that's the game that we got. I think Wednesday and Saturday are the next two games.
So I guess with the next two games, you want to see players who got less than the 75 minutes get more time.
Yeah.
But I again, maybe it's unfair, but I think you want to see a little more this is a game and we want to win, even though it is preseason. A little bit more determination. Or
I think they had it. I think they were it's almost like they're kind of figuring out where they're supposed to be. There was a lot of communication on the pitch.
Yeah, the pressing was quite good. Actually.
Yeah. That's fair.
And one thing, maybe I'm overanalyzing this, but the pressing gradually increased throughout the game.
Yeah.
Which, from a strategical point of view, I think is a very smart thing. If you start the game and you press right from the beginning, the team are going to adapt to that, right?
Yeah.
But if you slowly crank it up or have a trigger point to get the press going, that's going to catch the team off guard, which is what pressing is all about.
Yeah,
right?
it's like the old adage where if you try and put a frog into a pot of boiling water, he'll jump out. But if you put him in water and slowly raise the temperature, then you got him.
Another interesting thing was the wingers switched sides at the 40th minute, which you don't usually see.
Right.
It's usually at the half hour. That was Carl Robinson's classic thing.
Yeah.
After 30 minutes, make the wingers switch if something isn't working.
Which is what your guys' old friend there, Sir Alex, used to do all the time.
I don't mind it.
It worked then.
I wouldn't mind it. I don't even know why you have to wait 30 minutes. Get it to 10:15 and then switch it back out to the half hour mark and then go back and forth.
Who did you? He used to do with Giggs, and who was the other winger at the time?
That one would kind of rotate a bit more. In the 90s, it would be Beckham.
And Golden Balls, yeah.
And then it would be Nani and Ronaldo and Rooney and Tevez would play up.
Right.
So, sorry, which podcast is it?
So a little bit of so those are the games. Wednesday, I don't know who they're playing. I can't remember the schedule. Right
New
now.
England,
and then Saturday they're playing
Minnesota.
And so a bit of news points off the field really quickly. There was rumored a couple of Koreans were interested in coming into MLS. Now, one is probably not going to happen, and that's the one from Celtic, Ki Sung-young. I think he's from Celtic coming off, and his wage demands were really high. He's probably would take up a DP slot, so it's probably not going to happen.
He just left Newcastle.
Oh, was it Newcastle? I thought it was Celtic. I don't know.
He would be unbelievable. He's such a tidy midfielder.
Yeah.
Just has fallen out of favor in Newcastle because they have enough midfield options now.
Do you think he'll be sold, or do you think? Oh well, he can't.
His contract was terminated on the.
Oh, he was terminated. Oh, I didn't know that.
Mutual termination.
Oh, okay.
So he's training.
So
in
he's
South
basically
Korea
a free
now.
agent to go.
Yeah.
He's training with Celtic.
In South Korea.
Oh, in South Korea.
Independently.
Now, there was another player, a lesser-known player, but still a national team player who's got a couple of caps, Dong Young Lee. He is... he's basically just recently got a call-up to the national team back in the fall. He's played for Uslan Hyundai. and they're in the top division. He doesn't get very minutes with the team, but the national team coach actually brought him in because he thinks he's just that talented. He plays a number 10 role, and he can also play the wing. Very tidy on the ball and is a good distributor. So that's kind of what the Caps are maybe looking for.
So they could have Dong Young Lee and
In
Hong In Bum.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. And then a couple other ones. They did make a signing. Oh, easy there. Sorry. They did make a signing. They signed another homegrown product, Damiano Pasil. He can play a swing or as a striker, but his natural position is number 10. We had him, I believe in 2018, he was number 3 on our U17 ones to watch. He's an above average distributor who moves the ball quickly in the midfield. So it's something that a good number 10 would do.
Like on a scale 1 to 10, Steve, like how surprised are you at this?
I'm a little bit surprised.
Yeah.
I was expecting it, but the big question, and I think he is talented, and that's the thing. There's another player we're going to be talking about later, Chance Carter. Or I don't know if he's not still on the list we were going to talk about it, but he signed with Edmonton. In 2018, when we talked to people that know the Whitecaps Academy, they had Chance Carter rated above this guy.
Oh.
So he was number 1, Chance Carter. Then it was the goalkeeper that went to Leicester City, and then it was Damiano. So that was a list. Now, they play different positions because Chance Carter's a box-to-box, and this guy's a number 10, it's attacking player. Now, the big question for me is, and again, I haven't seen Damiano play in a long time, but he plays kind of a similar position to Simon Colin.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So does this
Michael say something?
Does this say? Does this spell the end of the Whitecaps?
Well,
That's why they signed him.
What's the official status?
There's no official status. So I think maybe they're expecting him that he is going to sign. So they knew there was a homegrown spot opening up, and that's why they signed this kid because they like what they see from him. Maybe he fits the whole attacking, pressing kind of type of player that they're looking for, and Simon didn't fit that. So we'll see what happens there. But it'll be interesting to see.
So do you see this guy getting any time this year at all?
No.
No.
Right.
Unless they're out of the playoffs or something like that. They're basically got time to kill or whatever.
When's the last time we had like a good old injury crisis, though? Isn't that something to look forward to?
They always have that. But
it's never resulted in young players.
They have more depth this year than other years, though, for sure.
It feels like they have more young players signed than ever before.
It's true. That's a good point. Last bit of news here. I know Zach might have stuff to talk about this. They're officially calling that general admission area, GA area, the Village Stand.
Yeah, did we talk about this last week?
Well, no, we didn't. We talked about it in the parking lot.
In the parking lot. Right? It's a little bit awkward. Like when you want to work with your supporters, right? And they're the ones who've been asking for this GA section for a long time, and then the supporters who've been working at this for a long time publicly put out what they're calling the section, and then you decide to put out something that is not a correct description of what it is. It's kind of like when you sign a guy who named the tank and you bring out an armored personnel carrier, because it's not a stand. It's like right. It's not it's not a true stand.
Maybe they're talking about because people are standing.
Curva.
Right. Well,
maybe they're talking because people are standing. That's why.
Right.
So I'm not in the loop about this. So what did the supporters want to call it?
The Southside and Curva Collective are calling it the West End.
That makes sense.
It's physically the West End, which I get. There's a little bit of awkwardness, maybe
a little bit
with the with the multiple directions being involved.
Yeah.
But and you can debate how south and how west and how whatever that part of the stadium is all you want. But the stadium themselves call it the West. The West Side. Anyways, and the Village thing. So the Whitecaps front office is just like, we're going to call this what we want because it fits with our marketing.
Yeah.
Which is like,
what if they call the Village Stands? So instead of being like stand, it'd be stands. So like the Village Stands, like
that would make that would make more logical sense,
Yeah.
Steve. Yeah, but
Is it
it just
verb or
it's just kind of awkward. It's just kind of awkward when you like. I don't know. I'm not a part of those meetings and those discussions anymore. But talking to the people who are, like, this is just something they kind of did on their own. Yeah.
Is it a sore point? Like, does it really
no,
matter?
I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not as involved as I once was. So
Well, you're crying uncontrollably. Is why I'm asking. Because I'm just kidding.
no, like I think people like Peter from the South Side and Will, who was here last week. I don't think they're. I just think they're just like it's a bit annoying.
Yeah, it's
like,
not a good faith move.
No,
or something like that.
because I mean, here's here's like one of the reasons I'm not involved with dealing with the front office anymore. It gets tiring going to like meetings where people like lie to your face and then come back to the next meeting and say, oh yeah, we're sorry about that, but let's start over again. And then they just do that like, once every 2, 3, or 4 meetings. Like that keeps on happening, right? Yeah. So it's just like and their people tell you like, you guys aren't good enough, or they say, hey, that thing you do, that's not good enough for us to like get behind.
It would be interesting.
It's like okay, like it just gets tiring after a while.
It would be interesting to analyze like the motivations for people, like because we all feel pressure from different places, and it's hard to sympathize with another person's pressure, right?
Yeah.
Like a fan group representative is feeling pressure from the people that they represent, right? And then someone at the Whitecaps is feeling pressure from I don't know who, right? It's
it used to be Rachel Lewis. I don't know who it is now, but I'm
excited for the section itself.
Totally.
I have my tickets for the first game, bringing some friends along.
Nice.
I'm really excited. And
Irish people?
2 of them are Irish.
Oh, good. All the Irish people who've ever come have only helped things move forward.
I thought you guys lost that game and you brought some people over.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, that was horrendous loss too. The last time you brought people
and those
over.
People were
that's right.
Those people were used to watching Irish Premier League football, and they thought
which is of the highest order in Ireland.
Yeah, no, let's not get into that. Separate podcast.
So on that,
anyways, we'll see what comes of it.
Yeah.
But hopefully that things in terms of the actual support is good.
So I have some genuine questions because I'm actually curious about the march to the match. Is that going to be moved earlier, or is it going to be still on the same time? And then, like, the GA section is going to presumably start filling up an hour.
Yeah, won't that affect the people that are in the march because they won't get
anything
good
around
seats?
the game day experience changing? Like, I know they've changed. They have a new pub.
Yeah, so the march will be a little bit more traditional. Like it'll be start on Granville and come down Robson. Yeah, is my understanding. Again, I don't sit in these conversations anymore. Yeah. The timing, I haven't heard about the timing.
It'll be interesting to know. Right?
In terms of like one of the complaints or one of the fears in the past has always been like, oh, there can't be a GA section because then we'll have to wait in a line like in Portland. Right, and people would ignore like, well, look at Seattle. No one stands in a line in Seattle to get into GA. They just all march in together and they go sit down.
There's a line already because of the pat downs. So.
Right. So I think there'll be I think it'll be somewhere in between the two. But I do not see like there being this huge line to get in like the front of that section. Like I think the people in that section just want to get in there and support. Yeah. The timing of the march. Yeah. We'll see what they decide to do with that. But the only the primary positive thing in my perspective is if having a GA section does make people get into the ground earlier. Oh yeah. Hopefully it means hopefully there's some kind of support element to that. Like there's been back in the day we used to support during training or during the warm up. Like even if there was 20 of us, we would support. I know that this section is further away than from where the warm is happening, but if there's more people, maybe that's okay. And then if you're the stadium or the Whitecaps themselves, the more people you have in the ground earlier, the more potential you have to sell them things inside the ground, like beverages and food and merchandise and all that kind of stuff. So you want them in there. Mm-hmm. So we'll see how things go. But I too hope that it goes well. Yeah, if you're going to be there, Joe, then it's going to be great.
Yeah, I just have to make sure I don't get kicked out before like halftime this time.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. Yeah. It's a major moment in like the supporting of this club, right? Like it's a significant change that I know you personally have lobbied for quite some time, and like it's exciting. Like there's genuine momentum behind this. Even like I'm not a part of any of the supporters group, like by choice. Like I like to.
You're not from Paddy Vanguards?
No, I'm not. I'm actually a Willie's Corner diehard. That's my. Anyway, I'm just kidding. But no, it's a genuine. Like it's an exciting moment. Like it's the club see the potential. That's why they have this latest advertising push behind it. Like even people I know who are kind of half in, half out of supporting the club know about it, and they want to. Like I think there's limited tickets available now for that section, so it should be interesting to see.
Well, clearly the marketing worked.
Well, no, but that's the thing is the part of their doing this is because all the other things that happened were so bad. It's kind of like they have nothing else.
Yeah. Like, is there an element of a clean slate with this though that we should?
Yeah, but that's to them. There's a clean slate every time they screw up.
No, agreed.
Every time they make a bad decision, it's like, hey, clean slate. Let's start over. Tabula rasa. Here we go.
Yeah.
And now, like that's how it is.
And with that, exciting times. You're right for the event. And what could be more exciting than after this break when we preview the MLS Western Conference? Back after this.
Hi, I'm Mark Dos Santos, and you're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
Welcome back to the AFTN Soccer Show, broadcasting live from the CITR FM studios at the University of British Columbia on the unceded Musqueam territory. That song was Feel It All Around by a band called Washed Out. And it's actually the theme song for the show Portlandia.
Oh.
That's why I played that there.
Nice.
Because Whitecaps are still going to be in Portland for the next week or so until I think the first game's on the 29th at BC Place against Sporting Kansas City. So get your tickets for the Village Stand. Great advertisement for that in the previous section if you missed it. Sorry. Okay, so we're going to start previewing the Western Conference as well. But first of all, Joe, you haven't been with us all this offseason.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about the Whitecaps roster maneuvering and all that stuff? Do you like what is going on? I did a side-by-side comparison with all the subtractions and additions. I think they're on paper. They look way better than last year.
Yeah,
I don't
agree.
see a spot where they actually went down in any spots.
No, they got rid of some. Got rid is kind of a harsh way of putting it.
Oh, they got rid of some dead weight.
Yeah,
basically.
they did. Absolutely. I think I can't think of a move that I looked at and said that one doesn't make sense. You know,
Yeah.
like bringing in Cavallini was an absolute need. Like we can't depend on Montero and Theo Bair like we did towards the stretch.
Or Ricketts or
Yeah,
anybody
yeah.
that's supposedly a striker right now.
Yeah, and like the midfield additions, the defensive additions, like they all looked really good. I think there's some smaller moves that I was a fan of, like getting or like releasing McMath and things like that. Like just smart roster moves that made a lot of sense. They're looking good. Like, are they miles better than they were at like the start of last season? I don't think so. The changes are very much going to happen on the pitch, right? Like, in terms of how the team play rather than the personnel.
But you still have to have some talent in order to play that personnel or the
like,
right talent.
Is Arise a bad player? No, he
No.
was a bad fit. Is Bangura a bad player? No, he was a bad fit. Is Venuso a bad player? No, he was just a bad fit. Right? It's that kind of
Bangura
thing.
wasn't a bad player or even a bad fit. He just didn't try too much.
Yeah, but
it was
the coach has to
90.
Was Ardeas in your list there?
You know, I was
RDS.
happy. I was happy I didn't have to remember him until you brought him up. The highlight of his career in the Whitecaps was that really cool video that they made when he arrived of him landing at the airport
And the shoes and
the
everything.
shoes and the watches and
Neck
all that.
tattoo.
Yeah. Well, I'll remember that fondly. His finishing, not so much.
Okay, so let's get to the Western Conference then. Obviously, a lot of chatter that the West will be stronger conference, the stronger conference out of the two. Is that how you see it, or do you think there still is? Obviously, we're going to talk about the East probably next week, but the West, do you see a massive improvement in the West, or is it just like same old teams at the top and same old teams at the bottom?
I think the way it's going, the standings are going to fall. Like, there's definitely grouping you can
Tiers.
assign. Yeah,
Yeah,
tiers.
tiers,
So
yeah.
like LAFC at the top, like the brand of football that they play and the personnel that they have and have added, like
Yeah.
Bradley Wright Phillips, like that's going to be a good addition, even if he's playing a secondary role.
But
right?
then you got Diamande, who is broken his foot and is not going to be ready for
I
the
didn't
next.
know
Yeah,
that.
no, he recently broke his foot.
but like
For LAFC?
Yeah, LAFC.
But-
So he
But again, they got Bradley Wright Phillips.
Bradley Phillips is
but-
the starter essentially at this point for
But
the
Bradley Wright Phillips, the type of goal he scored in New York,
Yeah.
right? Like, it was a more robust goal.
Yeah.
The type of play he's going to have to play in
He's
LA
just going to finish.
is going to finish,
Yes.
right? It's perfect for a player of
And-
his caliber.
And they still can play Vela up top if they want to.
They can. They can play. They can play like a 4-4-1-1 or
Yeah.
something like
Can,
that.
can Rossi not play up top, like in the
I
middle?
think I don't know if he's. I think Vela's probably more of a player that can play up top more than Rossi, because they do have a lot of. They brought a lot of strong
Yeah.
midfielders and a lot of strong wingers. I think Rodriguez is the guy's name that's behind Vela. The one place that they look weak is their back line right now. They did like they really revamped the fullbacks. Beitashour's still there as a free agent.
Yeah,
and
is he stay?
no, Beitashour's not with anybody right now.
Yeah, okay, that's what I meant. Sorry.
And then Zimmerman just got traded. There's
Yeah.
a lone stalwart center back, and I don't know what they're going to do without. Like at this point, Dejan Jakovic is going to be the starter.
They need to make some moves. I think it's fair to say.
But-
Zimmerman was such a big miss. He was a
Yeah,
great player.
Jakovic cannot start. Like he can be a squad player. He cannot start. Like
Maybe-
I really appreciate him, but he's not. He's so off the pace.
Maybe Bob Bradley has some kind of innovative tactic that we haven't considered yet. A 1-5 4 or whatever.
And so you're talking about the tiers again. The other team I think you had in the top tier, and I have them too, is Seattle, the defending champions. Michael's the defending champions, Seattle Sounders.
Yeah. The image of MLS consistency, like just even to make the playoffs. They finished, I think, first or second last year. Second in the conference last year. Yeah, like, is there any doubt that they're going to make the playoffs again?
Oh no, they should. Well, the people, they might not have a good start or a good middle or whatever. It doesn't make a difference. They will have it being there. Yeah. They're a team that unloaded a lot of players.
Yes.
Including their MLS Cup MVP, Victor Rodriguez. Yeah. But they still look like a very good team. Yeah. The guy they brought just to play next to Ladero sounds like I've never seen him play, but sounds like a very good player. The one question I have is their center back chemistry, because they brought in basically 2 new players. One's a DP, and then they brought in another Colombian or something like that. I can't remember names right now, but they let go of Kim Hee-hee. Yeah, they let go of Torres,
which surprised me. Torres, I can see why.
Well, I wouldn't bring him back because they know he's performance enhancing drugs and everything.
Kim Hee-hee was that's actually I forgot about the suspension. Yeah. But Kim Hee-hee is such a tidy player. I don't watch a ton of Seattle games, but
thank you for saying that, Joe.
Yeah.
Well, he's the reason we didn't get
allegiances in question on this podcast.
He's the reason we didn't get a result against Seattle last year, especially the one at home, because he blocked that shot at the last second. The thing is the depth. Depth, they don't have depth, and they've got to play the Champions League too.
Much like the name of the podcast, there's still time.
Yeah,
right?
There's still time.
We can. I think in a week from now would be a fair point to kind of judge a lot of these things, because even if they make a signing, 5 days before the start of the season, how often do you see a player be signed at that point and then start the first few games?
So Joe's saying this section's done. We'll talk about it next week.
There's plenty of signings that should cause lots of alarm for Whitecaps fans from teams around them in the standings, but we'll get to that, I'm sure.
Your second tier, we talked about this earlier. You have two teams in your second tier, I believe.
I broke it down into top 2, so LAFC and Seattle.
Yeah.
Under them, from 3rd to 6th place, I had Minnesota, LA, Portland, and Dallas.
Okay, so let's not go out of order a little bit. Let's go to Portland first, the team we saw today. Another team that has kind of revamped the striking position. They basically, they had to, because the guy was coked up, essentially. So they had to revamp that. But then they brought a lot of two strikers, and what's his name, Ubovisi or something? Yeah, he's basically now 3rd tier right now. Yeah, if you look at the depth chart on paper,
didn't he score against the Whitecaps at one point?
He was their joint leading scorer last year at the Portland. So now he's the number 3 guy, because they brought the Mexican player on loan.
Yeah, I wish I could remember his name.
I can't remember anybody.
Felipe Mora? Is that Felipe Mora?
I think he's the guy who won the penalty.
And then they brought the Polish striker who led the Polish league in striking.
Yaroslav is his first name.
There you go. There.
I was going to be Lewandowski. Wow, that's a good.
No, he led the Polish league in scoring last year.
Yaroslav Nizgoda.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, but the team still, based on today, they still lean on Valeri. He looks in great shape.
Yeah. Diego Chara.
Yeah, Diego Chara.
His brother,
Yimi.
Yeah, which is cool. Actually, Chara has his number on the back and the name Chara, right? But usually when you have 2 players with the same last name, you put the front initial. Yeah. But Diego Chara doesn't have that, and his brother does. So it's kind of funny. And there was one shot where you could see both of their jerseys. It's just a weird thing to look at, because what's the chance a referee will get that messed up? An MLS referee will get.
That's why they have VAR. Yeah. But they probably didn't want to make people feel bad for buying the 21 Chara shirt. Now it'll be D Chara. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, next team, Galaxy. Big change, obviously up top. Zlatan's out.
Yeah,
Chicharito's in. But again. And they really, I think, are going to be relying heavily on Pavon, who scored a really fantastic goal.
Unreal goal.
Yeah.
Unreal.
So they got that in the attack. But again, same thing with the Galaxy. Same thing with kind of Seattle. Portland wasn't showing glimpses of it too this year. Their backline is very suspect, and I don't know what they have back there.
They got Emiliano Insua. Which
left back, right?
I think so. Well, in my Football Manager reality, he played center back for my Queen's Park Rangers team, but that's just a side note.
I'm pretty sure he's played at Stuttgart, I think.
Yeah, he just came from Stuttgart.
Okay,
yeah. So he's an addition to the backline. They have a lot of attacking pieces that they've added. So they've also added Sasha Kleshin from Orlando, probably more of a bench impact kind of a role. And then Alexander Katai as well. Looked like he was on their books from the website I was looking at.
Free.
So they did lose Alessandrini, Juninho, Harim Boateng, Chris Pontius. Like all the players we mentioned before are upgrades on those.
Roman Alessandrini.
Yeah. He's I think he's playing he's unassigned right now.
Yeah.
Minnesota. Let's go to Minnesota. I think one of your next teams on the list.
Yeah, they were in that same group.
You have them in the second group.
I have them in the second group because they did lose Darren Quintero.
Yeah.
They've also
But that might be, for some people that follow that team closely, that might be addition by subtraction.
It could be, but there's other kind of pieces in the midfield. So Miguel Ibarra and Rasmus Schuler are also have left the team. Schuler's gone back to Scandinavia. But the players that they've added, Whitecaps' favorite Jose Aja in centre back, and then Thomas Chachon from a team in Uruguay for $3.9 million, 18 years old, attacking midfielder. So he looks like the logical Quintero replacement.
And you haven't even mentioned Canadian great Raheem Edwards.
Raheem Edwards, yeah.
I just picked him up this weekend, I think.
Yeah,
it was just a swap of
recently,
this, like Friday, Saturday or something.
That was
exciting.
That was a trade
exciting.
that like made a lot of sense for everybody. Just a perfect example of what a trade should be.
Yeah.
But like Minnesota, like interesting team, good support, seem to kind of put a run of form together when it matters. And the fact that they added Chachon, like he looks like that new profile of MLS signing along the lines of Miguel Almiron and that kind of player. So that's the big reason I had them in the second group. Like they finished well last season, and it looks like they've added something.
And this is a team that looks very solid in the back, unlike the other teams.
Yeah.
They got Opara and they got Boxall in the center, and then they got solid fullbacks on the
and
outside.
Aja can play off the bench, or he can challenge.
Oh yeah,
he
he just signed him too. Yeah, that's right.
They added Tyler Miller in goal from LAFC. Solid signing.
who was your sixth team? I forgot.
Dallas.
Dallas? You have Dallas that high?
I was shocked when you said that.
I don't have Dallas at all that high. I have them at the bottom.
Oh, really?
Of the
I have Dallas here, and then I put nothing to back it up in my research.
You saw the preseason game against the Vancouver Whitecaps, right?
Did I? Maybe I did.
No, that was the
No.
4-1 loss. The Vancouver beat FC Dallas 4-1.
Yeah. That does not.
The thing is with the reason, especially I have Dallas on the bottom, is because Pico from Philadelphia was their biggest addition.
Yeah.
And that's not a good sign for a team that didn't do
Pico
well.
had a good game against the Whitecaps.
But
Fafa Pico's an annoying footballer.
But he's a defensive mid.
Cool name.
He's a defensive winger. They label him as the best defensive winger in MLS. I don't know how much that's going to win you.
What a terrible title.
Yeah,
to have
I know.
attached to you.
I think that's a compliment by insult or whatever you want to call it. A backhanded compliment. Who do you have? Like, is this where you have the Caps around too? Right?
No, actually, I have the Caps a tier under. So
no, but the next level.
Yeah, the next level. So 7 to 10.
Are there only 3 levels?
There's 4.
I have 5 levels in mind.
I thought I was overcomplicating things with 4. Apparently not. The next. So these are the guys who are going to be competing for. Like they'll be in and out of the playoff spot. Yeah. Real Salt Lake, San Jose, Vancouver, and Sporting Kansas City.
Yeah, I see those. That's about where I have them too. That Sporting. Let's go Sporting first. Then they did splash. For the striker.
Alan
Obviously,
Pulido, 28 years old, 13 caps.
A rich man's version of Lucas Cavallini, if you want to say that.
5 goals for the Mexican national team.
Yeah.
12 goals and 18 appearances for Chivas last year. $9.5 million fee. That's a big signing. Same fee as Cavallini, I think.
No, didn't they spend 10 for him?
Oh, they did? Okay.
I thought they spent 10 for him.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it was double the price of what Cavallini was, or very close to double.
Okay.
But the whole thing is with them is because they traded away Opara, and that a lot of people felt that was the reason why they really fell like down in the standings. They may have found their replacement for him in a Croatian center back. I think his name is Roberto. Oh man, I can't read my own writing. Roberto Punek. I should have typed this out. Roberto Punek. They think that's the guy that could solidify their back line.
It's going to be an interesting year.
But a lot of players left that team too.
Feilhaber, Nemeth, Wallace, Kalen Rowe, Croise, all left the team. Like I remember when they played the Caps. It might have been early on last season, and I remember like those players. Half the players on that list had great games and were big reasons why the Caps found it tough. But yeah, so many of those players too are part of that SKC identity that we know so well, right? It's going to be an interesting transition year for them. I don't think they can finish second bottom like they did last season, right? They have to go up in the standings, and they've made the signings to kind of back that up too.
So let's talk San Jose then. It's not very much to talk about because they didn't really make many changes. It's almost the same team from 2 years ago. because they didn't make any changes last year either. So they confirmed some loans that they had that they confirmed, but the same players that were there.
Christian Espinoza. So that loan was made permanent. He's a 24-year-old Argentinian. They did sign another 24-year-old a Mexican player, Carlos Fierro. I think that was from. Oh, was that from Chivas? Somewhere in the Mexican league. That was an attacking.
Okay. I didn't see
winger.
him.
The center back was Oswaldo Alanis.
And he played with Almeida before on a team somewhere.
Yeah,
he's got
I think
experience
he
with
came
them.
from Chivas.
Yeah.
He's 30 years old. He has 23 caps for the Mexican national team.
Yeah, that's good signing. But the thing is, they didn't make anything else.
And they lost Godoy.
Yeah.
He was huge for that team.
And I think they got to rely big time. They still really got to rely a lot on Wondolowski to get some goals in. So we'll see what happens
They
there.
can rest easy in the fact that they're the MLS team that has a stadium closest to an airport in the entire world, in the entire league, I would say.
RSL, opposite of San Jose, lost a lot of players. You got Ramondo Beltrain retiring.
Yeah.
Savarino was sold. Plata's gone.
Brooks Lennon gone to Atlanta.
They just re-signed Luke Mulholland. He was considered gone, but he's come back now. They did bring a 19-year-old young designated player to replace Savarino. And the only other additions, the major additions you consider, is Justin Barham.
Yeah.
And they bringing in Giuseppe Rossi to I think he's training right now. He's not really officially
Giuseppe
signed.
Rossi, ex-Man United Florentina.
Is he Man United?
He was in the Man United Academy.
Giuseppe Rossi.
Who's he training with?
RSL. He's with RSL right now in training.
First of all,
Giuseppe Rossi.
Yes, the Giuseppe Rossi.
New York's Giuseppe Rossi.
I think he's New Jersey, isn't he?
He's going to be RTL Bunbury, except there's a lot more teams in America that he has to deal with.
I know this isn't a primary consideration, but he would not look good in that jersey, in the RSL jersey, like his Italian locks and all that.
I think
no one's with me on this. All right,
no, I don't
that's fine. I think was the player you mentioned that they signed as a DP was Everton Luiz.
I didn't name the name. I couldn't remember the name.
He's defensive midfielder from Spal.
It's a right winger though. I thought they brought in a young DP.
Well, this guy must be a TAM signing or something. He's good on Football Manager. That's all I can.
So sorry again. Giuseppe Rossi is training at Real Salt Lake.
Google it up if you want. If you don't believe me.
Okay, who hasn't Giuseppe Rossi trained with at this point?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Poor guy, actually.
Colorado, another team. Adding to they've added players to the roster, but very little flashy players. They're relying on like the Moneyball type of signings, like the lower end. They did redo their whole center back. Axel Scholzberg gone. They brought back two more. They brought in a couple of one young U.S. national team member, a couple other players. So that they're the team. You already mentioned FC Dallas. Nashville is the other team. They, like I said, you just signed in Zimmerman, but other, MLS experience they have. They got Badgie up top, Akam on the wing, McCarty, Godoy on the midfield, Andy Baba to go with Zimmerman, and they got the deep designated player, the German Henry Mukhtar.
Like a waiver signing FC.
Yeah.
It doesn't look good for them.
No, it doesn't, but Zimmerman's going to make a big difference. I think that's going to be they won't be as I think they'll be better than what Cincinnati was last year, and that's not easy to say.
It does hang a bit of Cincinnati to me, right? Like Waston was a proven MLS center back, and he couldn't hold
good point.
He couldn't hold up that team. I don't know. It's going to come down to how that team is coached.
Well,
I have them, Houston, and Colorado in my bottom three. Maybe I'm being too optimistic.
Why
about
Houston?
Well, we never talked about Houston. Let's just talk about them.
Wait, Houston? Why that low?
Listen, what I wrote 4 or 5 hours ago is
still a blur.
Yeah,
but I do have Houston a little bit higher. I have them in the just underneath like Minnesota tier. But they did bring in Quintero. Exactly. Let's see how he plays.
Yeah, that's true.
And plus they kept Elise, who a lot of people thought was going away.
How have they held on to Elise?
And Monedas. They brought them back.
Wow.
They really didn't add that much. That's basically what they've done. They kept players and they added one.
So if we know anything about Houston, they'll win 5 of the first 6 games.
Yeah,
and then
draw 11 in a row and finish 5 points outside of the playoffs.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. Okay, can I give you my list?
Yeah, go for it.
Because are you done yours?
No, I already did mine while I was talking.
Just don't read the standings from last year. That's that's cheating.
No. I agree with you guys in terms. I think LAFC and the Flounders are at the top of the heap. I think the next group for me is a little bit smaller than I think you had. I just have Portland, LA, and Minnesota.
Yeah, that's what I just had Portland. And
I had Dallas in there as well.
Yeah, I think
that's
crazy
a mistake.
But I had the 3 you had. I had
Yeah.
I
So
have
then
those
my
as
next bunch is San Jose, Vancouver, Salt Lake, Houston, and KC. And the bottom bunch I have Colorado, Dallas, Austin, and Nashville. I hope Kai Kamara can push Colorado out of that.
I'll do my quick tiers. I have LAFC, Seattle at top, Galaxy and Portland in the second tier. I have Minnesota, Houston, Sporting, and Vancouver in the third. I have San Jose, RSL, Colorado in the fourth, and I have FC Dallas and Nashville basically at the bottom. A couple other questions, though. You know, the teams that made the playoffs, who do you see falling out?
Maybe Minnesota is what I would guess.
You have them in your like second or third tier.
I know, but we have to kind of pick an outsider here. Like the Western Conference, there's a few people that are just reliable, right? We kind of mentioned the top and the bottom there, and like everything in between. Like who would have guessed last season that Kansas would finish as low as they did, right? I don't know. It's not as wild as the Eastern Conference, but there's definitely like a gap there that can be exploited. I think it really comes down to who plays well in July and August.
Yeah.
Like
Those
how often have the
dog days of summer.
Whitecaps? Yeah, how often have the Whitecaps just fallen off?
So really quick, because we're late for break, who do you see winning the West, and where do you see the Whitecaps going? I'll go first. I'll let Joe go last, considering we can change still before the season starts. So I think it's LAFC because they can handle regular season. I'm not sure how they can handle playoffs. And then I see the Caps really on the teetering on the 7th, 8th spots, but I will put them in 8th right now.
LAFC needs to overcome injuries like you mentioned to Diamande and CONCACAF Champions League, but I agree with you that they should be one, if not the favorite, one of the favorites to do that, to top the Western Conference. If I were to give it someone other than them, I would say I could see Javi Hernandez doing crazy things in LA and overcoming their terrible backline.
Yeah.
So maybe one of those LA teams, and then Vancouver.
Yeah, Vancouver. Where do you see them?
I have them in those groups. I have them,
Anywhere from 7 to 10 or something.
6 to like 10. Yeah. But here's the thing. You talk about it's how teams are going to do in August, September.
Yeah.
Vancouver, if you look at their schedule, Vancouver does not have a very good schedule to start. It's quite a difficult schedule to start, including both LA teams, including Seattle and Portland away.
Yeah, I haven't looked at
including a significant opening day game against Kansas City. That will be really.
So like Kansas seems like the team that the Caps are going to jockey with if they want to be competitive, right? Like they have to have similar ambitions to what they have to kind of match Kansas as they go. I know it's a long season, and the first 5 games you shouldn't even look at the standings, but there's a psychological effect that I think you were kind of keying into, Zach. Like,
totally.
Like if they lose those opening 5 games, like how strong are this team mentally? Not strong enough, I would say, to overcome that.
It's a really difficult schedule. I mean, you have Colorado in their opening games, but it is not a good.
But like, imagine if they lost that Colorado game. Do you think it's feasible that they do? Right? Why do we feel like we have a right to beat Colorado? Like we have to prove that.
Well, it's at home, but yeah.
You never know.
They also have NYCFC in there. They have Salt Lake, which they'll be battling with. So, like I said, Seattle and Portland away, back to back. San Jose away. So they have all 3 of those teams away in a row, and Toronto away. They have like a 4-game away stand against, in order, Seattle, Portland, San Jose, Toronto. 4 away games in a row.
Get those tough games out of the way, then it's smooth sailing. After
but if you're so bad after that,
there's no team in the entire league, East or Western Conference, that if you ask me right now, what's a team that the Whitecaps will beat for sure? If I had to bet something on it, I wouldn't bet on any team. That's the level the Whitecaps are at right now.
No, I don't disagree.
Okay, so who do you have at winning? Is it LAFC for you now?
I think LAFC are the safe bet. I could see Portland or the Galaxy pulling something off. Like it just depends on the consistency.
And where do you see the Whitecaps right now? In the 7th, 8th, 9th
6,
spot?
7, 8, or 9. Yeah, roughly there. It depends so much on who doesn't show up for the season, right? My dark horse to win the West, Sporting. That would be
my dark horse to win it.
That would be quite a
dark,
jump.
Very dark.
The good old Sporting Club of Kansas City.
Yeah. And so that'll be it for the Western Conference. When we come back, we will talk a little Canada national team, and a little team in Ottawa called Atletico.
Hi, I'm Lucas Cavallini. You're listening to the AFT Soccer Show.
I should lick my wounds and say it was me instead. There's an aching inside my head. It's telling me you're better off alone. But after midnight, morning will come, and the day will see if you went and get some. They say that girl, you know she acts too tough, 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 but instead I turn off the light, turn off the light. They say that girl, you know she acts so rough, 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 but instead I turn off the light.
Welcome back to the AFTN Soccer Show, broadcasting live from the CITR FM studios at the University of British Columbia on the unceded Musqueam territory. That was Victoria's own Nelly Furtado with Turn Off the Lights.
Like it says on the wall in the studio.
But now you can turn on the lights in Victoria because the Canadian national team is coming back after 35 years, I think it was said.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. They are playing in Victoria/Langford on March 27th and 31st, both days. I think it's a Friday and a Wednesday. No, Tuesday, you said?
Friday
and Tuesday against Trinidad and Tobago. And, of course, Michael wanted us to do the joke.
Yeah.
Which team were they playing on Friday, Trinidad or Tobago? And
Yeah.
which is the other team
Yeah.
on the Tuesday? So they'll have a camp here first, I think, in Vancouver. The camp's here.
Well, they're going to the Whitecaps.
Yeah, facility, yeah.
Little facility there.
So what are you guys' overall thoughts about coming to Vancouver Island?
It's nice to have the national team train at the National Training Center.
Yeah, it's good. So what are you guys' overall thoughts on the move coming to Victoria? I think it's a very good thing, and I think it kind of gives the biggest thing. It gives legitimacy to a CPL. Like there's a team coming to a CPL stadium to
Is
play.
it the first time they're playing? In
I
a
think
CPL
so.
stadium? Yeah.
Unless
in the CPL.
unless
era.
you want to count, CPL. They went to like the women's national teams played in Ottawa Stadium, but
and
and they played in Hamilton's, but that was before.
Before they came in, yeah. So
Interesting choice. Like I have to say, like
I think it's gonna be beautiful. Like it's
gonna
really
be
showing.
great. It's gonna be
It's
great.
a beautiful stadium.
yeah, haven't been there for Pacific FC games. Like you're right there. The atmosphere, with the new stands, especially. I was there before they finished the second.
Is it holding 10,000 now?
No.
It's close to it, or
65 is what I understand.
Oh,
right
I
now.
heard it was 10.
But it's so tight, right? Like the atmosphere. I know there's that open side to a stadium, but it does generate a good atmosphere just because everyone's so close, right?
So I think we've talked about this before, but my understanding is that open side will get closed in, and the hydro pole will be moved once their average for the season reaches a certain amount, which I'm not sure. I can't remember if it did
Average
last year.
attendance?
Yeah,
Okay.
average attendance for the.
Hopefully,
for
we don't
a
get any
season.
protesters about moving that hydro
yeah.
pole.
I think they'll be okay on the hydro pole.
The hydro pole's gonna be fine to
Hydro pole
move?
move will be
Okay.
Even Zav will be okay with that.
There was pretty good attendance for Pacific last season.
It was
as
okay.
far as I understand.
It was not what
The
it could have been,
the
but-
days that was
Opening game.
bad was the weekday games.
Yeah.
Wednesday at
The
8 o'clock.
Wednesdays, 8 o'clock.
I actually liked the fact that the CPL went for that schedule. I know they had to a degree because
Yeah.
of the odd number of teams, but having a weeknight game is a good thing, right? Like that's one thing I thought the CPL did really well was having enough games happening. You weren't waiting too long for the next game to be played. I know they played so many games against the same
Yeah.
opposition, like so much.
My
so
understanding
much time.
is that that's changing a lot for this year.
Oh,
There's gonna
man.
be
I was
far
a fan
less.
of it. Like I like the fact like
They
you
should
throw
have
on-
a-
you can throw
they-
on a game in the evening.
No, they
and
should
there's a
have
game
they
happening.
should have one, like a couple teams play one game on a Wednesday. There should be one game on Wednesday, and then and everybody takes a turn
Yeah.
every
How
couple
many
weeks.
how many games did any CPL team play last season?
Was it 28?
Something like that.
That's
no,
not bad, like for a small league.
I
Yeah.
can't remember. 10.
Yeah.
There was 10.
Oh.
No, was it 12 and 16?
I know.
or
Yeah,
something?
it
I
wasn't
can't
split
remember.
down the middle.
No,
the
it wasn't.
Fall and the
yeah.
spring championships.
No, but they played everyone 4 times.
So that
So
would
it's
be
24.
24. But then
That seems too low.
I think it's
season tickets were for 15 games. I'm pretty
yeah.
sure.
Okay.
But yeah, I agree with you. This is a great sign. This is one of the great things about the CPL
Yeah.
is the growth of the game and the expanding of the exposure of the game.
Yeah.
And so the fact that outside of Halifax, I think this is the CPL ground that has done the most to, aside from the turf, obviously, has done the most to like build an actual ground.
Yeah,
Yeah.
an
And
authentic-
Halifax is a little bit more modular and whatever than this
Yeah.
one. This one has elements of that too, but it's an amazing little place. And now they're, in one sense, being rewarded with supposedly Alphonso Davies coming to play in their stadium and to get to see the national team play.
Well, they said injury barring. I remember that a number of people reported that injury barring.
Yeah.
Alphonso Davies, Lucas Cavallini.
Davies is playing like the Hulk in Germany. I don't think he's going to get injured anytime soon. No one can catch
Yeah, but
him.
he might acquire a knock the week before.
That's the problem.
But
And
no.
we'll talk about that in a second.
So this is huge, and this is great, and this is one of the ways you grow the game in our country.
For sure.
Canada's not a place where you can be like, we have our Wembley Stadium and all the games are there and everyone must come to it.
Yeah.
This is where you got to bring it to people, and this is great. And so hopefully down the road we'll see this more in Halifax and in Winnipeg and all these other places.
It's going to do wonders for Pacific FC too.
Yeah.
Totally.
Like imagine the hit rate for fans, right? Like
Totally.
I'm sure there'll be fans of Victoria who have never gone to a Pacific FC game who will like the match day experience that they have with the Canadian national team.
And maybe we'll be able to see Carlisle Mitchell there too.
Is he in?
I have no idea.
I don't think so. So here's the deal: you need to get tickets for this. If
Yeah.
you want
How important is it to sell out the first game at least?
My limited understanding is that there are only tickets available for the first game, and at some point, if the first game sells out, then they will open up the second game for ticket sales. So, the Friday night's more likely to have more people interested in it, anyways.
Yeah.
But go out and get your tickets if you want to be with the supporters. The Voyageurs will be having a section. Please go through the Voyageurs for that. Otherwise, you can get your tickets. I think there's a pre-sale for Pacific FC people and whatever, and then there's a pre-sale for Canadian.
You mean Starfish Pacific FC people?
Yeah, whatever. Stewie and his friends. I think there might be even a pre-sale for people who are on the Canadian Canada Soccer email list or whatever, and then tickets will go on sale. But please get your tickets. This is huge. We need this to sell out. We need this to do well. We need that second game to open up and also have a good crowd, so that this will continue to happen in stadiums around our country, across our country.
This is considered a friendly in quotation marks, but it's also a huge game because they're chasing the Hex right now at this point, and they're running out of time.
Usually you want to avoid a Hex.
Yes.
But they are chasing this Hex.
Yes.
They desperately want
It's
the
a very
Hex.
winnable game. How much
Give
help,
us the Hex.
Yeah. How much help will it be ultimately be? Can they actually do more any harm? I don't think they can do any harm because they're not in the Hex right now. So they can only, this is like a no-lose situation. They just have to win.
They want to have safe Hex.
Yeah. And also the other question is, see, I got that. That's good.
Joe, what do you know about that? do you know much about that topic?
Let's not get into it.
That's something you have to be here. If we were videoing during the commercial break, you would have heard that.
That's going to be clipped for
probably.
next week, isn't it? Oh no.
Hey, spoiler, man. So we talked about it being a very important game. Do you see it? We talked about Alphonso Davies, but other European players, will they get released for it? Michael demanded us to ask about Scott Arfield for Rangers. He's
ripping it up.
He's
right
ripping
now.
it up. Yeah. Will he be able to 4 goals in 3 games?
He plays for Michael's favorite team, so
No,
I mean, Michael obviously hopes he's going to be here. Michael, big into the Rangers.
Yeah.
He's ready for the Rangers.
He just right now he's woken up from his sleep right now. But like, how vital is Scott Arfield and Alphonso Davies and all the other Jonathan David? How vital?
He's ripping it up too.
It's an international window. It is, so they should be coming. But like
And
you
the fact
said,
that-
those
the
knocks.
fact that they need to win, right?
Yeah,
they
those-
need to win. I think at least for the first game, we could see like everyone get rolled out. I have no doubt that there'll be a couple of knocks here and there. Like, yeah,
I heard too that in terms of the Hex, the good old safe Hex, that you initially people thought, oh, these games are not going to be worth much, but I heard it. I don't know if it's both of them combined.
Well, it was John Herdman saying, because he goes, if we're playing France and we beat them, it's still not going to be enough to get in. That's what
I
he
heard.
literally
Is
said.
it them combined, or one of the games could be worth 7.5 points?
I don't know.
That's got to be combined.
It might be combined.
Yeah,
Because
okay.
Trinidad and Tobago, I think they're below us in the standings, obviously,
They are.
because they're way below.
Yeah.
And that people, you get more points if you beat somebody above. That's why I was so surprised Guatemala picked up so many points, but it was because it was important games. They weren't friendlies, but they were winning their games. And then finally here, do you see the CPL players getting a look at any of these games, or because it's in a CPL stadium, or do you think it's just going to be they're going to go for the best players? Because honestly, I don't want to see them. They're already getting it in the CPL stadium. I don't want them to just be throwing roster spots to CPL players just because if they deserve it. But then it's hard to me to tell because they're going to. I think when does the CPL season start? Like mid March or something.
April 11th.
Yeah,
is
so
the starting date for
so
it.
they're still going to be preseason. So I doubt they even get a sniff because a lot of the European players will be in full form. MLS will be a month into it or at that point. So I see more of those. I see, a CPL player maybe here or there, but I don't see that many coming into the program.
Yeah, the other thing is, how many Whitecaps are going to be gone for this?
But
and how does that affect them?
Is it are they playing that weekend or no?
I'll tell you right now because I have it open.
Terrible travel though to get to.
Well, it depends on where they're traveling from. They could be traveling a week from somewhere.
Yeah,
right?
Where do
San
we go?
Jose back to Victoria.
I'm just double checking here. They are playing. No, they're off because it's international break.
Good.
They play on the 21st. They don't play again until the 4th.
Good job.
Cool.
Is this the start of seeing others? You talk about do we see other? If this is successful, then we see it in other stadiums.
Yeah.
Right?
I think Hamilton is
like Halifax.
Halifax.
Halifax. Would be
A game in the summer in Halifax.
Yeah, I don't know.
Bring an Asian team in there, so they have to travel way across the other side. Of the
Yeah, Australia.
Yeah, exactly.
Playing Canada and Halifax. No, I think a CPL stadium next in one of the big stadiums like.
I wouldn't mind
Hamilton.
Calgary. Calgary would be interesting.
But their
spot.
pitch.
Has anyone
and
been to the Calgary ground?
Michael has.
Okay,
I've been to it before.
so
it
you
was
don't
Calgary.
wanna-
I'm so
you
intrigued.
don't want to bring a Central American team into Calgary because they'll feel right at home
On
with
the
that
terrible pitch, yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're a bigger team, you're not going to want to go there because
It looks like such an interesting stadium.
Oh
Like,
no, it's a
Yeah.
really kind of interesting, unique place.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have a field that is being shared in the way that it's still being shared and
With
maintained,
horses?
With
yeah,
horses.
and being maintained, unless something's changed, and I might be unaware.
I think
I
they were.
think you find it hard to sell that to a team to come and play on.
I think they were talk that they were going to have it separated and not. They were gonna do
Talk
something.
is cheap, Steve.
Yeah.
They need action.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And horses don't understand words, so what's the point?
Nay.
Some more. So we'll talk about some CPL action that occurred this past week, and especially in Ottawa. Atletico Ottawa has named their coach. It's Mista.
Mista.
I was going to write his full name, but it was too many names there. So that's why they call him Mista there. We'll talk about his playing career. Started in Real Madrid Academy before having a 14-year career in Spain, which included his most successful period with Valencia for 5 years,
Yeah.
and then a 2-year stint with Atletico.
Do you remember when he was banging the
Madrid.
goals for Valencia? Were you still alive then? Were you following football?
If it was after '93, yeah.
You were alive then, but yeah, no, he was really good for.
Yeah, and then
Valencia.
he came over to TFC halfway through the 2010 season in July. Scored 0 goals. I think apparently his only goal was against a friendly against some English team. I'm not sure who.
So here's the thing. A lot of people mock that as one of the worst DP signings in MLS history. If you talk to people who from TFC, they'll say, "Look, we took a flyer on a guy. They didn't pay him much above the DP cap or whatever. Or I think it was the half season DP cap, so it was even less. So they hardly paid any. It was like they were taking a flyer on him.
Yeah,
It
because
didn't
they
work
really
out.
had no other options at that point.
And they it didn't work out, and they
waived him, and then he retired right after that because he couldn't get anybody else.
So even though it wasn't a good signing,
Yeah.
it was not as bad as some people make it out.
My
to be.
biggest thing about this, though, is that in a lot of the reports, I can't remember the Ottawa owner, the one that's Jeff Hunt, is it? Yeah. He said this brings us credibility immediately with Mr. being as part of the coaching. I don't know if they got that quote from some other interview or something, or had to do with the coach. Because this guy, I could not find any kind of coaching experience, assistant.
He was in the
coaching.
second or third tier in Spain. Coaching
Was he?
class?
Coaching?
I
couldn't find anywhere.
I thought I heard somewhere that he was coaching like younger players or
maybe academy then. Yeah. But that's a big step up.
Yeah.
And he said he knew the Canadian landscape. He was here for 6 months, and then he basically, I don't know if he stayed afterwards.
Not even
Not
6
much.
months.
There's not much landscape in Toronto
No,
either.
No.
Hey, there's some hills.
Arthur, I
Yeah.
don't see.
Oh yeah, no. Ontario's beautiful. It's not like
Which part of Ontario? No, I'm just kidding.
more the further you go north, it gets
Yeah,
nicer
yeah,
and
it
nicer.
does.
But then you got the lakes. They got all the lakes. It's great.
Yeah, you can't swim in the lake because it's.
In some of them you can.
Oh,
it
not the
polluted?
big one. Yeah.
Oh, actually, the big one you can. Lake Ontario's not the biggest one.
I've been advised by a notable source who works at the power plant not to swim.
Well, and Lake Ontario, yeah.
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
yeah.
I wouldn't swim there.
Yeah.
But the other Great Lakes.
Oh,
I don't know
sure.
about Michigan.
I'm
That
sure.
one's the American
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
That's dodgy, obviously.
Yeah.
But
anything named after an
yeah,
American.
Huron, it's good time.
Didn't one of them have like acid
Erie?
rain coming down in it or something like that?
Erie might be dodgy now, but I swam in it back in the day.
Okay.
That was back
Wanna
in the
tell us more about
80s,
that, or-
90s.
Yeah, I was at a camp that was right by Lake Erie, so we would take day trips to Lake Erie and hang out on the beach. And, yeah, it was good times.
So another Ottawa also.
Well, before we jump, I know this.
Vista, yeah.
You have a really good thing you want to talk about. Before you get to that, what do we think about like the logo and
I'm a fan.
crest?
He's a
and-
fan, yeah.
I'm
Joe's
supporting
good.
Ottawa
Joe's
this
supporting
season.
Ottawa.
I'm
Yeah.
coming out as a Ottawa fan, only as a placeholder until we get a team over here. But I like the look of them. I know like they said, oh, what are the Atleti colors again? And let's
Red,
make,
white, and blue.
Yeah, let's make some like local connections with those three colors.
See,
So, like the Rideau blue. There was a funny person on the YouTube link actually who was like, if they really wanted to name it after the Rideau Canal, they'd go with brown.
My only issue is that I thought they might when I knew they were going to call them some form of athletic or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But I thought they might go with the French
Athletic.
version because it's bilingual.
Athletic,
They're
yeah.
Ottawa. I thought they would go with Athletic instead of a Spanish one. But I that's what I thought.
They have
would
that
do.
umbrella of teams. Like they have teams in other countries.
Do they too?
They have a Mexican team.
Yeah, I think they have at least 2 other teams.
They have a Mexican team, and either have or they used to have an Indian Premier League team, I think.
Okay,
I
but
think.
that league only runs for like 12 games or something.
Yeah,
It's
It's
still a
yeah,
league.
Yeah.
They had a league longer before.
It's true.
That's
Our
the
most
only-
recent one.
That's the only time the
I-
weather
I-
holds up for about 12 games.
I think they pulled off the event nicely. The marketing was done pretty well. Like, there's real excitement for it. Like,
They need some players though right now.
They
need
do,
to sign
they
some
do.
players.
but they have a network. They have a bigger network than any.
But they can only bring
CPL team has.
seven players from that network because they have the
It's
rest
true,
of them have to be
but like
Canadian.
think of the draw. Like you know this whole time while Ben Fisk hasn't signed back with like
Well, they had
So
all
his-
the Ottawa Fury players. Where are they right now?
Some
Are
of
they
them have
USL?
signed, some of them are still lingering. But so apparently the CPL gave them a list of players, and
Yeah.
Memphis' name was near the top of
yeah
it. Or at the
yeah.
top.
And
Look,
then there
Ben
was,
Fisk did
the-
the right thing holding out
Yeah.
because like that's such an appealing
Well,
prospect.
I heard one report that maybe rumor is better than report that some are saying that Pacific hasn't even really communicated with Ben Fisk.
I mean,
which
why
sounds dodgy.
yeah, they have to. He's such a good player. He was the captain
Maybe
for most of the season,
maybe
right?
they're not communicating because they're letting him go to Ottawa. Maybe they've been told not to talk to Ben Fisk
Could
to
be.
make him.
He
kind
would
of
be
force
he would
him
be a
out.
great like reference point signing
Yeah.
for lack of a better word, like a solid, robust player who can lead like a
Yeah.
new team.
Like I said last week, it's great to have a team in the Canadian Premier League in the nation's capital. It's great that it's not a part of OSEG,
Yeah.
OESGG, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And I like him as a dude and what he did and whatever. But I'm kind of glad Julian de Guzman was not involved with it either.
I would also advise you, Zach, not to go onto the CPL website because they do have an article about other European clubs that might want to get into
Oh,
CPL.
God.
Okay,
So
so
don't go to that article.
right, so there are a
You're going
lot.
to be upset about it.
There's a lot. Apparently, there's a lot.
Well, if they're shopping rights around like they did seemingly to Atletico, why wouldn't other European teams consider it? Right, a farm team for a European club. What do they have to
Well,
lose?
hey, watch your language there. Don't
Yeah,
use F words like
it's a
that.
premiere.
So Joe, you talk about waiting for a team to come to this area. Who thinks 2021? Who thinks 2022? Who thinks beyond?
I hope 2021. I've got no.
Oh,
inside
what do you
knowledge.
mean? More teams?
CPL, Lower Mainland.
Oh, Lower Mainland. I would hope next year for sure, but I kind of could see it being another 2 years.
Like it's what I've been waiting for. Like
Yeah.
And I have no problem with it even if it's not in. I kind of wish it was in Langley area.
I
I do want it in Langley, but I don't mind if it being even further out.
I
Like
work in
between
Langley, so-
and Abbotsford, so I don't care.
What if it's tied to one of these?
It depends. If it
I
was-
don't. I'm not bothered
as long
by
as it
it.
wasn't as long as it wasn't Liverpool or Manchester City. I'd
Yeah.
be pretty
Who
much
is the
fine
team
with
that you?
Oh, Liverpool doesn't do that. do
Who's
they?
the team who
They
I
don't.
might be
City
worried
do,
about?
though. City
Is
do
it
a lot.
Deadpool? Is Deadpool on the list?
Deadpool was on the list.
That would be an interesting moral dilemma. I'd have to.
I think
see,
they were tied in with Moncton
I'd have to see. Oh God, Red Bull Moncton.
or something like that. It was something.
I could live with
look
that
it
more
up if
than-
you want.
Is there any like?
If Deadpool is tied to the club in the Fraser Valley,
Yeah.
I don't know what I'd do.
But it wouldn't be like
You drink your
RB
beaver
Red
juice.
Bull. It would be
What's that beaver
whatever the
juice you
German
drink?
word for grass sport is. That's how Leipzig.
Rasenbull.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
What- is there-
Did you see?
Rasenbull
You saw
Langley.
Bayern's against modern football. FRB.
I've got thoughts on this, but
Did you see the
I
banner?
did. I just feel like Bayern literally have a part of the stand where people wear white jerseys so that they can spell out T-Mobile.
Yeah,
in
but
the
it's not the
stand.
people. Those are the T-Mobile owns those seats.
I know. But like,
Here's the thing. T-Mobile owns like 9% of Bayern.
yeah.
But they still are. They keep. They're
Yeah.
both. They're combining
No,
of the
okay.
traditional and the thing.
50 plus
they
1
they have the
rule,
50 plus 1. They are a membership club, and they have
Absolutely.
3 companies. I
But-
think Deutsche Telekom is
then,
one of them.
But then, like, if Red Bull are 100% bad, then by the same metric, Bayern are 49% bad, right? And then the whole like
No, because there's no clubs in the Bundesliga that are all owned by the members.
there's none.
Oh.
There are teams that are the other way around. Like I think there's the legacy rights rule, like with
Wolfsburg.
Werder Bremen and
No, it's Wolfsburg and then Aspirin.
Yeah.
Bayer
Yeah.
So
Leverkusen.
So I'm just reading this article. I don't think it's gonna happen, but they do. I think it's more tongue in cheek kind of thing.
I don't think Olympique Laval.
Olympique Laval would be one team. Razin Ball Sport Equalit, which I think is in Northwest Territories. Yeah. Saskatoon Town. That would be Newcastle United. Yeah. So they could call them Toon Town.
Whoever wrote Durham United needs to get fired. By the way. That's number one on the list.
International de Moncton. So Inter Milan.
I mean,
and then Durham United.
Yeah, I think.
Which is I think out there West Ham. Durham United.
That's not great.
So I have a feeling this was more
Red Bull Moncton and Internazionale Moncton are like the most un-Moncton things you can imagine.
Have you been to Moncton?
My wife has.
Okay.
Yes,
yeah, I've been there. It's a nice little place.
Yeah, like not something you associate with an energy drink.
Or international, anything,
yeah. Exactly.
Except for the Magnetic Hill is quite marvelous.
Oh, yeah, I heard of it.
So last bit of thing for the CPL, Ottawa also trying to get into the Voyageurs Cup.
Important
David
discussion.
Callahan talked about it. They're trying to get him in. There's a simple way to do it and more complicated ways. Which one do you think? I think they should have another play-in game. Either play one of the Toronto Premier League 1 team or the Quebec team to get into the tournament, although it's unfair for them.
Yeah. But I disagree with that.
That's
because
the only way I see them go.
I disagree because you'd be changing one of those teams.
Yeah, I know, but that's the only way I see it.
There's only one way to do this. There's only one way to do this. They should have a caucus, and there's an app.
You go to the corner, and use an app.
Come sit with me.
Yeah, that'll go well. So here's the thing. I think I would be okay. I would be okay with them having to miss this year's. Because of the timeline. And I think in one sense the CSA was probably more proactive than they have been previous years because they knew they had to get something in stone so that they knew their things could change and they could, if they left it longer and longer, they'd be causing problems for other people. So anyways, I hope, or sorry, not that I hope that they're out, but I would be okay actually if they're not allowed to be in.
Do you think it's already decided though? Like,
oh yeah, I think the CSA is decided. Yeah, I don't think they're sitting ready.
Part of the negotiation, or not negotiations to join the league, but like early logistical.
Well,
planning.
that's one of the things. Do you guys, Steve? Do you know? Do they just take like Ottawa? I know Ottawa Fury sold their USL rights, but Ottawa Fury have a thing with the CSA where they're like recognized as a part of this, recognized by the CSA. Mm-hmm. Does this club take that, or do they have to get the new entrance into the CSA?
There was something interesting that Jeff Hunt said at the opening press conference where he acknowledged the work done by the Fury and how they were building off of that. Maybe that's something.
They would have to be. Yeah. So they don't have to get that approval, so that's not an issue. But here's the thing. If they are going to be in, I'd have to run the numbers really quick in my head, but if they are going to be in, I think what needs to happen is you need to have the 3 MLS sides get a bye into the quarterfinals, and then there would be 10 other teams.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And they each play a one-off to go into the.
Then you got 5 teams left over from that 10.
Yeah, but I also think they should all be one-offs, not one away.
I think I don't like the tiered thing.
No,
like, I think it just should be single elimination.
I agree, single elimination. The tiered thing, though, I think you need to keep for a little bit longer.
Yeah, but it's so.
Or you need to keep it. You need to keep it with bringing in Ottawa because you already had it as a part of this year's stuff. But I know there are people who are saying, "Oh, Vancouver should not be in that, and Cavalry should."
Yeah,
but which would be fun too. I think that would be great. But
it depends. Like, what are you using to measure? Right? Is it what league you're in, or how well you did last season?
Yeah.
Because if it's how well you did last season, the Whitecaps should be playing the League One Ontario champions because they were like absolutely woeful in the 2 games they played against the Cavalry.
I don't disagree, Joe. Yeah. But I think that in terms of structure, that's the best for right now. If you have 10 teams,
well, you have to shoehorn them in somehow. I really want them to be in it, and especially like the power that the owners have. There's no way they're going to let that slide.
I want them to be in it, but I can understand this year if they're not.
Yeah.
Steve, what do you?
I'm just saying that I think that I don't want them. If it's a simple way to do it, then you just do it the way they have to play in.
Yeah.
You maybe do a draw which team they have to play, the Quebec team or the Toronto the Ontario team.
But that seems so unfair to those teams.
I know it is unfair.
These are the biggest games of their year.
Not fair, Zach.
But that's the simplest way to do it.
That's very true.
That is the simplest way to do it. If they want to make it more complicated, then it would be Zach's way.
Whitecaps can just get knocked.
Wait, are you saying my way is always more complicated?
No, this way is complicated compared to the one I'm saying, which is unfair though.
Just let them go straight to the final.
Yeah. So that's enough of CPL talk and Canada talk. Get your tickets.
Yes.
people for
Please
Langford.
do.
And also because I think they're available. The women, they're coming to BC in
Yeah,
April.
April 14th. Yeah, we talked about it last week.
Yeah, if you don't have tickets yet, and I don't know if you know if they're available or how that's working, but get your tickets for that too.
I think that one will sell really well, though. That one will
it'll
sell.
be
Yeah.
Sinclair's celebration.
Yeah.
Ooh, the victory tour.
And the people from Australia can take a break from the fires.
They should put the game in Burnaby.
come over here.
Yeah, they should put the game in Burnaby.
So that's it for that. Then we will come back with Wavelength. And if you haven't got your Michael fix, you want to get your Michael fix, you want to stay for that. And then we'll talk headlines as well after this.
Hi, I'm Johnny Russell and you're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
Welcome back to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio 101.9 FM, broadcasting from the unceded Musqueam territory of the University of beautiful British Columbia. Didn't want to miss out on the fun tonight, so I thought I would bring you Wavelength from my sickbed. Could be man flu, could be the coronavirus. I guess we'll find out next week if I'm on the show. But this week's Wavelength is going to be continuing our theme of songs about goalkeepers. We're going to go back to the year 2000 and a song from Arlington, Virginia indie band Barcelona. This is a song about the American goalkeeper Casey Keller, which they decided to write for their 01 Infinity album after his fantastic display against Brazil in the 1998 World Cup, where he kept a clean sheet. They were just moved to say it was the best goalkeeping performance they had ever seen, and they wanted to commemorate it in song. So this is Barcelona with Casey Keller.
Touchline and let me go.
So I was Barcelona there with Casey Keller from their 2000 album 01 Infinity. Casey Keller, a goalkeeper who started his playing career with Portland Timbers, ended it with Seattle Sounders, where he still does colour commentary for the Sounders in MLS as well. One of the best American goalkeepers of all time? I don't know, I'll throw that back to the guys in the studio and see what they think.
Portland used to have a great chant. The Timbers Army used to have, not great, they used to have a chant for Keller that if you don't know it, you don't know it. I'm not going to repeat it. But I'm not a big fan. He also played for like Mönchengladbach, played for Tottenham.
Was that Keller?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, the song was, we heard it at the end there. I saw the face drop on Zach when he realized the song was about Keller at the end there. But that was Michael with Wavelength. Before that, we had the Buzzcocks, and now Michael didn't tell us to play that. I decided to play it for Michael to make him feel a little bit better.
Yeah, he played it.
The song was called "Ever Fallen in Love with Someone," and you said it was in Shrek 2 as well.
Yeah, I was babysitting the other day. It's in Shrek 2.
You don't call it babysitting when it's your own kid.
It's not my own.
No, it wasn't your own kid.
It's called parenting.
Yeah.
I made the mistake of calling it babysitting once. I got in trouble.
From who?
From somebody else, not my wife.
From
she
your
understands I'm stupid.
Sandeep is great.
Yeah, she is.
I still have never met your wife.
Oh, Caroline?
Yeah.
Sweet
Caroline.
I think he wants to keep it that way. He goes, you haven't met her? Yeah, that's right.
Just kidding. Come for the preview show sometime. We recorded in my house. So.
Are you doing it this year?
Let's see. Yeah, we'll see.
But you're going to have all these children.
Yeah.
Or you have one child.
If the Whitecaps make the playoffs, it will line
But
up.
is your son loud?
Yeah. But he also sleeps for like 16 hours of the day, so
that's good.
That's a good deal.
Yeah, enough time.
Okay,
in there
where do
to
you live
record
now,
a
though? You keep on moving. Where do you live?
I'm in Richmond.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I'm in Abbotsford. That's a long way. But okay, maybe one time.
I
come
work
hang
at
out.
Langley. You can come.
Oh, but then I won't get to meet your wife. She's not going to come to Langley.
That's true.
Well, see,
okay, let me know your schedule. Maybe I'll come.
You're just making it so you never meet her.
Yeah.
So that was, like we said, Wavelength. That was also Michael and Zach talking about making plans to do the preview show, which hopefully we'll have.
This is not Michael. This is.
Oh,
Joe.
sorry, Joe.
So I know.
Different accents.
I know everyone from that part of the world sounds the same to you, Steve.
You're what? A little southeast?
No, he's west.
Yeah,
southwest. Yeah, southwest.
Yeah, deep south of Ireland.
Yeah. Where would that be in Game of Thrones?
King's Landing. I think.
Yeah, it'd be King's Landing.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Because that's in the south, I think.
No, you're southeast, right? That's King's Landing is King's Landing is south
in England. Isn't it in
southwest
England?
Is
aren't they all in England? Isn't it supposed to be England?
You'd be the.
I have no idea what we're talking about anymore.
Oh, okay, forget it. Let's move on. Here's news radio. Here's headlines.
Play it. Seriously, I thought it was an English thing.
Headlines is brought to you by what is it brought to you by? Oh, BC Soccer Web, where you can find all your news all during the week. Great job by Bill there.
Man City Bill.
Yeah. Is he? I wondered.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Headlines is cancelled this week.
No, because we got a Man City story at the end there.
Oh, yes.
Actually. Oh, a good one. It's a good one.
Yeah. So let's talk about first story, which doesn't start off really well. Flamengo is shutting down victims' family out of the remembrance events. It's the first year anniversary of the fatal fire that at their training complex that killed 10 youth players. The Rio club has excluded families from participating in remembrance events. The families also, with the exception of Pablo Enrique's family, whose lawyer had submitted a request previously, were barred from entering the training grounds to light a candle in memory of their sons. Currently, the families are locked in a legal dispute with the club over the compensation, but also over why the fire happened and why there was inadequate safety procedures. Even then, though, I think the club is making a big mistake, like shutting them out. You shouldn't be doing that. There have been protests by the supporters as well because of this. The youth players had been housed in a row of 6 conjoined steel modular units sharing a single exit, one of the many grave shortcomings of their dormitory, along with an absence of a caretaker, which is a federal requirement at the graded windows.
Yeah, this is one of the sad things about our modern world, where liability outweighs like being a decent human being. It's like they don't want to. I assume for them, they in part don't want to. they don't want to like admit guilt or show that they're doing anything wrong or whatever.
Yeah.
Or some lawyers probably telling them, hey, it's best if you don't have these people there.
Can't admit anything.
Yeah, because you don't want to. Yeah, you don't want to look like you're saying it was your fault or whatever.
Yeah, but it also shows that your humanity a little bit too.
Oh,
That might help
exactly.
you in the
Exactly.
long
So
run
this
as well.
is where it's just like, can you not have an event like this where you're not saying, hey, we're totally at fault like this, but we want to help people grieve and mourn
It's
together.
a lack of common sense, right? When you
Oh.
take a big picture view.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's legal things getting in the way of compassion.
And also, let's go to the Chinese Super League, which is at risk of being canceled due to the coronavirus outbreak. The campaign was scheduled to start on February 22nd, which is almost 5 days from now. Today, obviously, being February 17th now. But they've been delayed indefinitely. Teams have been told that they will be given 15 days notice if and when the decision is to resume the competition. The earliest possible start right now is April. In fact, the club managed by Rafa Benitez has decided to stay in Europe, in Spain,
Steve,
until mid-March.
Steve, what's the name of that football club?
I didn't write it down because I didn't have a chance to write it down.
I just thought it might be a
It's
fun
the
pronunciation.
Chinese
thing for us.
club.
Yeah.
Oh, the Chinese club.
The Chinese
club,
right.
yeah.
Those guys are busy.
So they're very busy.
Yeah, I was supposed to go to China for work in March, and they canceled the entire event, like the
was
entire
it
conference.
the World Media something or was it something?
No, it was a biotech
yeah.
conference.
But there was another one that was canceled
Oh,
recently
they
too.
they have lots of, but yeah, just outright the entire thing postponed.
Michael keeps swearing to us that he did not contract this well in Europe.
Wow.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Is he awake right now?
I don't know.
Oh, I thought you
Are there
texted-
droplets
I
coming?
thought he texted you right now.
Oh, no, not right now. But whenever I ask him, I'm like,
Oh.
what are your symptoms? He's like, this. I'm like, have you ever looked at it? He's like,
Yeah.
No, I'm good.
Yeah, that's what they all say.
Okay, so and we talked about this earlier. The latest trademark dispute between Inter Miami and Inter Milan. So there's a little bit of explanation. Inter Miami is not going to be changing their name
Yeah,
at any
that
point.
part's
They don't
fine.
have to.
That part's
The
okay.
problem that Inter Milan has is Inter Miami using the word Inter, just Inter, in their promotion, like saying
Which
Inter,
is
come see
trademarked.
watch Inter. That's the biggest problem.
What does Internazionale in Porto Alegre? Do they not also go by Inter?
I don't know.
I wouldn't know that too.
Right, they're the big crosstown rival of Gremio.
Yeah.
I've heard them referred to as Inter many times.
It could be it could be
Or
just
because it's so old.
yeah,
Yeah,
or they're colloquially called Inter, but they're not marketing it as that, right?
So it'd be interesting to
But
see.
this is crazy. It's like not an uncommon word. Like it's
Like Inter have this global vision now. Like now in their under Conte with their new with the owner, the Chinese owner of the club. Like they have this ambition to be a global club, and this is them putting their foot down for their marketing image in North America.
But that's the thing, though. It's not. It'd be like if Man United came over to Minnesota. You can't call yourself United. It feels like to me.
Yeah, it's around
Like,
those grounds.
it's not like.
It's because Inter isn't used commonly, and yeah, I don't know. It's
But I don't know. In football, because of the Portuguese, because of the Brazilian club, I think that makes it common enough to me.
oh, there's lots of other teams called Inter something as well, right? Like it's not.
Maybe it's because of America, because the
market.
Like you said, Milan.
Oh, the
Yeah,
market.
yeah,
The
that's
footnote
where
in
the-
America.
Yeah, it's because the market is so big.
Yeah.
But
What we need to do is have Inter Miami play Inter Milan and see who wins. And
Yeah, and they could use the
oh,
word
get
Inter.
David Norman in there.
yeah. Now that Ashley Young is up and scoring, and
Oh, right.
yeah,
Scored his first goal today.
he did. Yeah,
Yeah, you guys must have loved that, you two.
I had no
did.
idea it happened until you just said it.
I'm here with two Man United supporters.
Lucky
Speaking
you.
of Italy, Italian referee banned from football for 1 year after headbutting goalkeeper.
This is happening more and more, right?
Antonio Martinello sent off Borja Mogliano, keeper for Matteo Cicillotti. Oh, no, I screwed that one up. During their home game. The goalkeeper headed, after the game, headed to the dressing room of the referees to seek an explanation, but discovered that Martinello had more punishment to dish out. They basically faced off in the corridor, and the referee headbutted the goalkeeper, who was then taken to hospital for treatment and later discharged. The referees are getting more aggressive, it seems like.
Yeah,
Even
there was
if
that
you
guy
see it
who-
on the pitch,
Yeah.
sometimes you see it on the pitch, you'll see a shove.
Yeah.
And I think they should. If a player's getting in your face, you should be able to shove him back. But this going for the.
You know that French referee who tripped that player who was
Yes.
on a breakaway a few
Yeah.
years ago? That was so funny. Yeah, he had to retire after that.
Did he have to retire?
Well, he was close to retiring as it was.
Oh.
So they suspended him rather than fire him
Right.
until he could and forced his retirement.
Gotcha.
Basically. Yeah. Allegedly.
Well, what a way to go out.
Yeah, not bad.
The funny thing is there was a story here that I totally missed last year. It was like a kind of like related stories or something. Apparently, there was a referee. I think it was in Spain. I can't remember exactly. Oh, maybe it was even mainland, somewhere in the UK. A referee came on with a Mexican luchador mask. And onto the field, a former referee or suspended referee came on and gave the referee that was refereeing the game a red card. And then the players unmasked him right on the field to figure out who he was. And they discovered it was that former referee. He was banned for life from attending games.
Yeah.
But it was hilarious.
Here's the thing, like, as much as I don't want to condone violence, I mean, if Michael was here, obviously he would. But
it was supposed to be Violence Awareness Month.
Oh, that's right, yeah. But here's the thing, like, in one sense, like, the abuse that referees take from players is like undue and like crosses a line a lot of time.
Oh, for sure.
So it's hard for me to get like angry or upset for player, feel like players right, whatever.
No.
When one of them strikes back.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
But you can't do that.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying it's right.
Players shouldn't do that.
I don't feel a lot of.
You don't feel.
There-
Yeah.
there's-
I don't feel a lot of sympathy for a player
in the UK, there's
who goes to the referee's dressing room
in the UK. There's this new thing at grassroots level of I can't remember exactly how it is, but there's now like tools for
it's a penalty
referees.
box.
Yeah, or something like that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
there's
no,
now
we talked
tools
about it a
for
while ago.
referees who are under who get too much abuse or pressure
Right.
during the games. There's something they can do. I apologize, I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's like starting from the bottom up, and they're going to see how it works. What I want to happen is have the referees mic'd up like they are in rugby, because then the players can be held accountable by the public, not just by the people.
100%.
Like he said, she said, kind of a thing, right?
Yeah, usually he said, but yeah.
Yeah, there's female referees
and the
in
thing
the
is,
Premier League and
In
places
the
like
Bundesliga too.
You want like really quickly, and a lot of people probably aren't paying attention because it's a second tier pigskin league, but XFL is going on right now.
that.
Right?
I
It's a
thought you were
brand
going
new
to say
league.
Is that a
MLS.
pornography thing?
No, it's XFL is like the Extreme Football League or whatever they call it, right?
Yeah.
So what it is though, the way they're doing instant replay, the person who's running instant replay, they have them mic'd up. So you hear what the instant replay person's official saying to the referee, and the referee doesn't even look into a video screen.
He looks into their eyes?
No. They're basically got a
Their
headset.
soul.
They're talking via headset, and the replay official who's up watching the replay tells them what happened,
Yeah.
and they just call it that way.
I'm sure we've
There's
all
no. It's like rugby.
Yeah.
Like the rugby official doesn't run over. Doesn't go over
they
and
talk.
look into a screen.
Well, they actually often look at the big screen in the stadium.
They might,
and
but
talk to the.
But
guy in the
ultimately,
mic.
they make the person up there makes the main decision.
Yeah, they do.
The cricket, the person upstairs, they don't even talk. They just like they tell
just
them
wait,
what happened.
You guys probably saw that clip probably a year ago
Australia.
now. Yeah, the Australia.
Oh yeah, when he was retiring or whatever.
He was
leaving?
going to
Yeah.
referee in England, and his final game he was mic'd up. That was fantastic.
He was great. Yeah, that was
good.
awesome.
No, it's good. So last story here.
Wait, should I read this one? Because I'm unbiased.
No. It's let me read it. It was Friday.
Yeah.
It was a tough day. My car broke down. I lost my job.
Are you serious?
My wife left me. Took the dog with her. But then this story came along and pepped up my took the kids. Oh, left the kids. Yeah, good point. That would have been worse. Manchester City has been banned from Champions League for 2 seasons. The ban starts next season. City will also be fined £25 million. After they were found to have seriously misled Europeans' governing body and broken financial fair play. They essentially, and this came out in football leaks.
Yeah.
By
everyone's favorite.
The great Portugal man who set the world free. They basically, when they submitted their fair play compliance process, they were basically
lying.
Totally lying. It was in
About
a German
sponsorship.
magazine Der Spiegel in November 2018. That's where it was. The shirt sponsorship only got £8 million.
And they claim
pounds,
60 something.
and they got 67.5. That's what they were claiming they got from that, from the shirt sponsor back then. They will be appealing this to Court of Arbitration of Sports. I personally think it's almost a slam dunk case. They're using the the thing that's, this is a leak. It shouldn't be. It was
they were the people.
It was illegally obtained. That we were doing stuff illegally.
It's not like it was wrong. It was illegally obtained.
Yeah, and then they've been taking other things like now they're saying, UEFA investigated, UEFA ruled on it. It's all UEFA. There's no independent process. Dude, you're running under UEFA. That's like saying, well, why is Americans dealing with American law?
There was something really interesting I read just before the show started from a sports lawyer saying that all the Manchester City players have grounds to terminate their own contracts because the club didn't operate in good faith.
Yeah.
So that's interesting for the players who are under long-term deals who want to play Champions League football. Personally, what I think is going to happen, they're going to appeal it. The sentence is going to get suspended. They'll pay the fine. They might get 1 year out or something like that, or they won't serve any suspension. It's just how these things seem to go.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if they actually missed the Champions League because of this. But what a great message it would send to clubs.
You see,
I think they will. I think it's going to go. I think it's going to go through. I don't know if next year will go through because they will have they'll appeal it and they'll keep it in the appeal process. But eventually they're going to go through this 2-year process.
There's no way they would have done this to Juventus or Bayern. Not that they have done
zero grounds.
Yeah, there's no grounds.
I don't see
or
where
Madrid
they can
or Barcelona because those teams have so much pull that they would have just started up the rumor mill on the European Super League again, right? It had to be a club like new money like PSG, who actually got
PSG
off
is still
easy.
Because the thing is
really easy.
The big difference is PSG and I think it was Chelsea. They admitted to their wrongdoing, so they got light.
Chelsea was
Man City was fighting it the whole way, and that's why they
Chelsea
got
was a bit different because they got done for the youth players.
Yeah, the youth players loaning them out. And
that
stuff
wasn't
like
really
that,
a financial
it wasn't
case.
for FFP.
The FFP came in after Abramovich. It was pretty much in response to Abramovich. So they didn't really fall foul of that for that reason. But yeah, that was an effective ban for Chelsea, right?
Yeah.
There was another ban. I think was it for Manchester City or PSG or someone like that. It was a really intelligent way of doing a punishment. In the Champions League, you're allowed to register a 25-man squad. And the team that got the penalty were only allowed to register 23, which, when it comes to the end of the group stages, really pinches. Really pinches. So
I've been claiming to we should be banning plastic everywhere. So it's good that UEFA is finally doing it somewhere.
Manchester to be plastic free by 2020. That was a funny newspaper title that went around for a while.
So
then no one will be at your stadium for your games.
That's fine. So that's another episode, another week of the AFTN Soccer Show. Let everybody know where they can find you and what did you learn this week?
I learned. You can find me on Twitter. It's at ZacharyAM. This week I learned that. I learned a lot about and his life. And I learned that Michael hopefully doesn't have the coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
Joe.
You can find me at Joe DC Van on Twitter. I learned that I can't say too much when the mics are turned off because blackmail is only around the corner.
And you can find me at Whitecaps Beat, and I learned that Joe likes to live dangerously. And if you don't know what that means, wait for the clip next week. You can find where can you find Michael? I forgot now.
At AFTN?
At AFTN Canada?
Canada, I think.
Yeah, AFTN Canada.
It's either AFTN, AFTN Canada, or AFTN Soccer.
And it's AFTNCanada.com. You can find all the articles. There'll be
.ca too.
A ramping up of... is it .ca or .com? I had a tough time putting with the show together. Luckily, Michael was able to help with some of it, but oh my God.
You did great.
So that's another show. And in the meantime and in between time, that's another episode. I did it again. I cut that little bit out. Michael, thank you.
He did it last week.
Yeah, I know.
I heard that.
You didn't cut it out, did you? No, damn it. So in the meantime and in between time, that's another episode of the AFTN Soccer Show. Join us next week. Thank you and good night.
Going to your first match is an experience you never forget. The atmosphere of what's going on around the pitch looks beautiful and you always look and go, wow, I'd love to play here one day. If you get the bug, it's going to stay with you for life.